just for some facts, I'm telling you, YouTube has around 20 million uploads every day. 1 million is 10 lakhs. Okay, more than 20 million videos are uploaded on YouTube every single day. It has, if you just roughly take each video is of 100 MB, there are 2 petabytes of data is getting added to YouTube every day. 2 petabyte means 200 terabytes, or it is close to 20 lakh GBs of data that is getting added to YouTube every day. Different than the normal streaming is the normal video. Whatever I showed you here is the comment section, correct? So there are right now around 11,876 people are watching, and if you observe this, the comments are being flooded like anything, correct? This looks like an easy problem to solve with the help of pager and other things, but it is not that easy. Welcome back to Uncommon Geeks. Myself, Fasant. I hope you all doing well. In case if you are seeing me first time on the internet, I'm a content creator. I help people to clear their interview. I've made a lot of beautiful series in the past, which has been appreciated by many. Link to those series will be somewhere on the screen, also in the description section. So this video is one of the very requested video on my channel, on my Medium, LinkedIn, everywhere. Vasant, what is front-end system design? How front-end system design interviews will go, and how the questions will be asked, how we have to prepare, how we have to answer. Correct. So I'll be taking a very important example in this video, and I'll be explaining how front-end system design works. But there are certain common elements that appears for that will be exist for all the different systems. So I've tried covering that in this video. It's around just 18 to 20 minutes video. Watch that video and come back here, because I know you know the basics of the front-end system design before coming to this video, because this is a typical example where I'll be taking a system and I'll be designing it from scratch. Okay, so nothing superficial, nothing is pre-built, everything I'll be building in this video itself. So if you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon, so that whenever you go till the end of the video, you will be definitely be benefited. Also, I'll be uploading lot more system design videos, and whenever I upload, you should be notified. Okay, that is the reason. Please press subscribe and press the bell icon. Without wasting further time, let's get started with topic of the day. So as you might have already seen in the thumbnail, so this is a video where I'll be designing one of the most popular system on the internet, that is YouTube. So I'll be designing this system from the point of front end. Front end, what are the things involved in the front end, how front end has a lot of challenges, how it will be solved. Okay. And before I start explaining those, there are certain facts that I need to be very clearly explained to you. So YouTube is one of the most used platform on the internet. So Facebook, Google, YouTube, they all probably rank in for the top 10 definitely. So just for some facts, I'm telling you, YouTube has around 20 million uploads every day. 1 million is 10 lakhs. Okay, more than 20 million videos are uploaded on YouTube every single day. It has, if you just roughly take each video is of 100 MB, there are 2 petabytes of data is getting added to YouTube every day. 2 petabyte means 200 terabytes, or it is close to 20 lakh GBs of data that is getting added to YouTube every day. It's a very massive system. So why I'm saying this is, it is quite practically impossible to design such a big system in around 40 minutes. Correct? This is obvious. But given a question, how do you start is what the interviewer is very much interested to know in this interview. Okay. So let us start by the first thing, that is requirements. Correct. So I've already explained this very much in detail in my other video. Please watch that video if you're not already watched. Okay. So first thing, let me start by adding the text. So this is the same way the interview goes on. If you are someone who not at all aware of the system, then you can go ahead and watch the system and come back. Okay. For example, somebody may not have a Netflix subscription. So if you start designing Netflix and you don't even know what options are there, then probably you may ask the interviewer to show you the system so that you get some insight. Correct. YouTube is very open. My videos are also uploaded on YouTube. So if you're watching me, you already know what is YouTube. So I'm not going taking a walk off the YouTube, because I already aware of the features. Okay. So let us start by adding. First point is here requirements. Okay. So this video can be slightly longer, 40 to 50 minutes. So take a coffee and stay tuned till the end. Definitely it will be beneficial for you. Don't skip in middle. Okay. So requirements. So I think requirement has two different sections. Not I think requirement has two different sections. One is general requirement. Okay. General requirements. Okay. So what, sorry. Yes. Our requirements, what we can do, not general requirement, functional requirements and non-functional requirements. Okay. Now not a general requirement. I'm sorry for that. So functional requirement and non-functional requirement, what we'll do, maybe we'll increase the size a bit. Requirements, let's make it, just the requirement I wanted to be extra large, but everything is becoming extra large. Okay. Anyways, so Requirements, functional requirement and non-functional requirement. Let us start listing the functional requirements. If you don't know what are functional requirements, again I've explained in my initial video very much in detail, but in very simple words, functional requirements are those which are like a functionalities. What all functionality that we are building are present in the YouTube. Okay, first thing, if I have to add, one of the main functional requirement of the YouTube is authentication. Okay, then we have you. So whatever you think in the journey of YouTube, all of that you can start listing here. Okay, so we have authentication. Okay, then once you are logged in, so you come here. So also, before I start this part, basically YouTube has two persona, correct? One as a content creator, one as a content consumer, correct? So in the interview, you ask which persona or which category the interviewer is interested to know the design part. Okay, so depending on that, you have to list the requirements, correct? So I am designing here for the content consumer, like any end user like you will be watching the video, not somebody who's creating the video. Because I am not doing the content creator kind of a thing is, content creation mode many might not have explored. Like it's not so common. Everyone are not YouTubers. Right? They will not go and see the content creation phase. But consuming is very, very common. So I'm taking the consuming phase. And interview also, this is very commonly asked on the consumer persona. Okay. Now, first thing is an authentication. Okay. Once you have authenticated in the system, then what you have, probably you have account settings, correct? So there are many options inside the account settings, like probably some preferences, language, all those things, correct? Then we have the search functionality, correct? Inside even the search, we have certain different search, that is text search. And next we have voice search. Okay. So some, actually what they make is, some whenever they list like this, they will modularize it, like they read only the search, and whenever that during the scoping they'll add the further items. That is also you can do, or whenever you're writing you can add the main features here itself. Okay, next we have the video listing, the core crux functionality, where whenever you open YouTube you start seeing this different videos, correct? Then video details screen. So video details is whenever you tap on a video, the screen that opens is the video details, correct? What all functionality do you see in the video details? You have like, slash dislike, you can like and dislike a video. Then you have comment section, correct? And you have a comment, then you have something like suggested videos, correct? Suggested videos. On the right hand side you will be seeing what all suggested videos for you, correct? um, Once maybe after that we'll have certain very basic options like share, embed and all, correct? If you're not somebody who is following up with me, just go to the YouTube details screen and you can watch it, correct? Then we have some premium feature. So YouTube has premium features where you can pay and watch certain videos. Okay. Then YouTube also has live streaming. You can watch a live streaming functionalities in YouTube. Then you will also have certain things like gaming, and you also have something called news. Okay. And you also have something called music. Okay. So roughly I'm listing all the things that I have seen in the YouTube in general. Definitely I prepared for this video. Like it is not the first time I'm simply writing. I've just studied the system. I've noted on certain items. Actually, left hand side I've written them. So I'll be watching once in a while in case if I miss certain things. Because whenever I'm communicating, you guys should know everything. But you as in the interview, let's say you whatever the things that you have seen, try to memorize it. But if you're not able to memorize, there's nothing wrong. You can ask interviewer, shall I see the system once? Just before you start writing down, you can look at the system once and then start listing all this. Okay. So gaming, news, then so these are the things. Let us stick to these items. So because let us be practical, we have only 1 hour interview where 40 minutes is only dedicated for system design. Okay, all the crux or the core functionalities we have listed here. Now let us go for the non-functional requirements. Okay, so I'm just maybe decrease the size of this. Okay, I don't know. This is not like maybe 1 minute. Let me cut this here and I'll add another text item. In that case, maybe I'll get some freedom. Yeah. Okay. Non-functional requirements. No, still it has a problem. Anyways, I'm able to scroll now, which is good. So what are non-functional requirements from the YouTube point of view are like non-functional. I think I have again explained my previous video very much in detail, but in case if you're not in very, very simple terms, non-functional means something that is not directly affecting the user, but it is very, very important for the system. So for example, the first one is the adaptability. Okay. Adaptability here, I mean, it should be we should be able to see the video on mobile, tab, all the screens, correct? So whatever the screen that you are designing, that should not be just generic to the it should be not just be dedicated for web or mobile. It should be adjustable. Whenever you compress the screen, it should get adjusted. So that is something non-functional requirement. Second thing is localization. Like, are you supporting any local languages whenever it comes to India? Like, for example, Hindi, Kannada, Malayalam, Telugu. There are many different local languages. Are you supporting all the local languages in the system? If so, how you are doing? Correct. Then you have something called globalization. Same as localization, but are you supporting the foreign languages? Correct. How you are going to support the foreign languages? That is, then there's a very important thing called security. Then there is another thing called caching. Correct. Where security, you need to ensure whatever the system that you are building should be secure enough. Like, whenever you are streaming the video, the right packet should come to you, and some whatever malicious packet, some intruder is adding some packages which can hack the system and get certain information should not be added into your system. Correct. Caching is obvious. So whenever you are rendering a certain page in YouTube, if you have observed, you see one video playing in the center, suggestions will be there, and whenever you click on a suggested video, this next layout is also pretty much the same. The same layout is appearing in the next screen. Only the main content gets changed. Suggestion videos also get changed. But it is not like a whole page re-rendering. I'm going to talk about that in a while. So there are a lot of things that can be cached. Comments can be cached. Count of like and dislike can be cached. Correct. Many things can be cached locally, so to give a better user experience, or whatever the thumbnail images that are shown in the YouTube. Correct. Those can be cached. Correct. So there are many things that can be cached in YouTube. So that is about the caching. Then. We have certain things called accessibility. So how you make sure somebody who's disabled can access the tool, like maybe blind or somebody with having some disabilities, what are the things that you're doing in the tool to make sure they have accessibility. See, it is very very important to consider all these aspects in system design. So Vasant, my system as is not supporting any globalization. I'm dedicated to only India, or I'm dedicated to only US, so I'm not going to support any localization. That is fine. Okay. But whenever you design a system, you have to list the items and rule out and have a justification added in a document saying this is the reason why I'm not supporting the globalization. This is the reason why I'm not supporting a localization. But you should always take this point during the discussions, so that somebody stakeholders will add a point and you'll be able to get a clarity on them. Correct. So next, whatever we have is architecture, very very important. So if you're not sure what is front-end architecture, I've tried explaining very much in detail. I'll be adding that video here also in the description section. Very, very important video where there are a lot of different architectures that are available on the front end. To name micro front end, monolithic. Also, there is something called monorepo. Which architecture suits better for the project? See, these are the things that doesn't impact the user directly. Whether you cache or not, he is not bothered. Correct. Whether you are giving accessibility or not, some user it will affect, but as an entire product, it doesn't affect. So these are things which are not directly affecting the user, but these are all very essential from the product point of view. Okay. Then I think then maybe we can do this resource optimization. Correct. Very very important, resource optimization. So where given a particular bundle, how you're gonna use the images, how you're gonna use the videos and other things, so that whenever you're storing those resources locally or wherever you're storing, that has to be stored optimally so that the loading can be improvised faster. Like, are you minifying the JS? Many resources are there. How you're gonna optimize all of them? Okay. So these are the things that I think are some good enough things. Okay. For the requirement point of view. Okay. Let me select this entire region, make it medium so that you can view the entire requirement at once. Okay. So where we have the functional requirement and non-functional requirement we have listed. It could be a little small whenever you're viewing the screen, but so I'm zooming in so that you can see all at once. Okay, functional requirement and non-functional requirement. So what is the second step? Again, in my previous video, I've clearly explained. Once you have the requirement, definitely all these things cannot be built in the 40 minutes interview, whatever we are having. Okay, actually, I've already elapsed around 14 minutes. This is a typical duration. Same thing happens in the interview. Okay, my videos are not superficial, so I'm very, very much clear on that. How the interview happens, the same way I'm trying to mimic here with little bit of extra time to explain you certain things. Okay, so now we have functional requirement and non-functional requirement. Next is we have to do the scoping. So in scoping, we pick certain items that interviewer is comfortable with generally. So there are certain things that an interviewer know very very in depth. So he'll ask you to pick, he or she will ask you to pick those topics and do the component architecture and explain to them very clearly. Okay, so and they'll have certain problems with each approach and they are going to discuss that with you and how you can come with a better approach. All those things will be discussed in the interview. Okay, now if you see scoping, next section is the scoping. Okay, after requirement, next section whatever we have is the, one second, so next section is scoping. Okay, so in scoping, what all the things scoping basically refers means in this what you are picking. See, I'm very interested in few things. See, if you look at the video details, so it has a lot of features dislike, comment, suggested videos, share and embed. So I'm quite interested in this. And if I look at all the functionalities here, for me this seems a little challenging, and it's worth explaining it to you guys how a lot of things are being solved in this particular area. Okay, so let me take this video detail screen. Okay, with all these options. Then if I come here in the scoping section, so I'll be taking this video details. And next, another important thing that I think will be very, very useful and competitive, worth explaining is the live streaming. Okay, live streaming has a lot of challenges on its own. Let us look at them one by one. Other things also maybe important for you, like how you're going to do the text search and the voice-based search. There is some filtering with the time and a lot of new things on first, etc. But I'm not going to focus on all those things. I am sticking to this. You are free to pick, after I explain these two, you are free to pick any of these requirements, and you come up with the challenges that particular feature has and how you will solve it. Okay, but I'm going to stick to this because definitely I prepared also for this properly. Okay, and definitely these are the things, whenever if you go for interview, there is a high chance they'll ask you these questions. They wouldn't ask you to do the video listing. Obviously most front-end developers know how to do the video listing, correct? That's quite generic. Lot of things that we explained: gaming, news, music, and also there is another thing I missed it, that's called shorts. Recently the shorts are becoming very popular, correct? So obviously some features, some interviewer can pick some features. I'm going to pick these features. Okay, now next, these are the two pictures we have done the scoping. Next part is the next part is the technology. Okay, so this needn't to be this way. Like you don't have to pick the technology and then go to the component architecture. You can kind of define the technology after the component architecture also. But just before I start drawing, I just wanted to make sure let we discuss the technology and finalize it. So what all technology options we have? So most popular ones I'm going to pick now. One is using the plain HTML and JavaScript, correct? Plain HTML, CSS, and the JS. Next we have is the React JS. Next we have is the Angular. Next we have is the Vue.js. Definitely, I can keep writing. There are a lot of other frameworks also, but these are the quite popular frameworks, correct? So, but one interesting fact, YouTube as a platform itself doesn't use any of this. YouTube has a custom framework of its own. That is what I read on the internet. But always keep this in mind. Many do this mistake in the system design interview where they'll try to, they feel very sorry when they don't know what the real system is using. Okay, and whenever so they'll say, I don't know what YouTube is using. See, they are not asking you to clone the YouTube. Okay, in the system design interview, they are asking your opinion. If you want to design a system like YouTube, what you're going to use. Okay, so be clear on that thought. Don't think bad because you don't know what YouTube is using. Many don't know what YouTube is using because there is very limited information on the internet. Whatever you said publicly, only those information we know. In the beginning I said so many videos are getting uploaded, so many GBs of data. I also read somewhere on the internet which I think is trustful source, but not from the YouTube blog, correct? So we don't know a lot of data about YouTube. Same happens for a lot of system designs. So whatever information that you think is relevant, that only you have to suggest. Okay, don't worry if you don't know what system is really using. So now for example, now can we use a React or a Angular? I kind of don't think HTML, CSS, and JavaScript can be used as it is because it has its own limitation. Definitely, it could be a little faster in certain scenarios, but using the plain HTML, JS is becoming slightly outdated. Correct? So React JS or Angular is something that we can pick. I don't see any strategic disadvantage of using any of them. You can use React JS or Angular; both should be fine, but there'll be something called a company specific advantages. For example, let's say the team has a lot of React developers and team is already having certain projects on React, so you as an organization has been highly dependent on React, or same in case of the Angular. So in certain cases it is good to go with that tech itself. Why? Because organization as a whole is using certain tech, and whenever there are problems you have experts inside the organization to solve, correct? So it's good to go use that kind of a tech whenever you are building, correct? So or else like hiring challenges will be there. Sometimes team is having only one React developer and three Angular developers, then you can also pick Angular over React. Okay. I mean, these are the I'm saying this is not should not be the first criteria of selecting a tech. This should be the second criteria, company specific pros and cons I'm telling. Okay. Now when yes, I'll be picking React.js as one of the popular framework and is used by a lot of developers out there. So I'll be using React.js for building this particular thing. So, and I'm justifying it because I'm very much believe virtual DOM concept and the reconciliation will make up faster rendering. And already a lot of very big applications like Netflix and Amazon Prime to certain extent are using the React.js. So I don't see any problem with the React.js in the scalability. Even if you're having a millions and billions of users using it actively at a point in time, I don't see any problem with React. And as you all know, we also have very small component architecture of the React. So we can divide each function into components, which will give a lot of flexibility in code reusability. So I don't see any cons from React at the moment while using it for the YouTube architecture. So I'm using the React.js. If somebody you want to use an Angular or a Vue, feel free to mention why you want to use that in the comment section. Okay. Now, after you're done with the requirement scoping and technology, the next common thing that generally happens in the interview is the component architecture. So in the component architecture, either you can draw and explain certain things. So most interviewer expects that drawing and explaining, and some interviewer do not expect you to draw and tell. Some interviewer straight away ask certain question and how you're going to solve that. So both let us discuss in this video. Okay. So now let's say let me simply design the YouTube. Okay, basic architecture of the YouTube I'm gonna design here. Okay, this is the video details screen, huh? Not the video listing screen. So everyone I believe have seen the video details screen. So here what I'm doing is, this is the place, as you all know, the video gets played, correct? I'm just increasing its size. Okay, and this is the right side where all the suggestions happen, correct? So I'm taking another box, all the suggested videos will be present here. Okay, and also have this section where this is section where all the like, share, unlike, embed, all those things will be present here, correct? And then this last section is the comment section. Quickly let us name, so that in the whenever we are explaining the interview we are clear. Video streaming, okay, or video player, that's the probably the right word. Okay, okay, video player. Let me increase the size so that you all can see video player. Then we have suggested videos, correct? Suggested videos. Then we have certain things called comment section. Okay, comment section. Then we have, this is what I can call like, share, embed. All these things will happen in this. Okay, so definitely suggested videos will have certain like images with a thumbnail, etc. Correct. So Control D. So where you can see multiple suggested videos like this, correct? One below another, you will be having the multiple videos. So something like this, correct? Suggested videos are going to be like this on the right hand side. So this is the typical UI of the bare bone. Don't think like this is the your whatever the beautiful design that your developer gives. So this is a bare bone of the how YouTube looks like, correct? YouTube video detail screen looks like this. Now there are certain problems in each of this section. One by one, let us go and discuss and let us solve. The first problem is the video player itself, correct? So video player, if you see, you have certain buttons on here, correct? That start, stop, and all are here. That mm, I don't know where the shapes are there, but I'm just gonna keep. This is the start and this is the stop, and you will have certain buttons like next and the previous, correct? You will have buttons like the forward and backward buttons, correct? Forward and backward buttons. Sometimes on the right hand side you choose the settings to increase and decrease the video quality, etc. Correct. So there are many options that are associated with this video player. Sorry, I did forgot to add O here. So how you gonna build this player is the first question. Okay, now let us say you are in a system design interview and the interviewer asks, Vasant, this is the video player, whatever you're saying. It is very beautiful player with lot of options. Like we already discussed, it has like, share, and video playing, pausing, forward, backward, changing the quality, adding the subtitles. There are a lot of functionalities associated with this video player. correct? So generic component, if you consider from React point of view, it's a generic component where lot of attributes are passed to it. Like for example, certain videos cannot be quality cannot be increased to HD because video itself is not in HD, correct? And there'll be a lot of other options like subtitles. Some videos have a subtitles where you can switch to different languages, some doesn't, because author hasn't uploaded that JSON or whatever the file that is required for the subtitles. So this is a very generic component in terms of React, if you think, and what all components that you would pass to that particular video player component, depending on that it will show those options, correct? Obviously every video will have certain things that is very common, start, stop, and the quality setting, they're all very common, correct? So now how are you going to design this player, correct? So if you ask me now, and this, then what is the next question that I'll ask for the interviewer is, what is the timeline that we have for this delivery of this entire product? Let's say he wants to go with a beta, the first version of the app, in next 3 months. Then I would say, see, video player is a crux of this entire layout. There are a couple of options that I would give him. One, if there is any proven player which is already doing the fantastic job and that is at a very cheaper cost for us, let us first go and use that third party video player and embed into our tool. Let us not build a tool of our own. The reason for that is very clear. Like I said, there is a lot of challenges that comes with a player. Like for example, you're getting the video and suddenly the video becomes slower. Internet becomes slower. Then whenever how you fetch the next set of packets becomes slower, but you shouldn't see the jitter on the video, correct? So there has to be some process in the backend which is taking care of these things. So video playing is a very, very complex process than you think. So my advice is, if there is a possibility of taking a different third party tool, then let us take the tool for the beta. Further, let us enhance it internally and add our own tool. Now interviewer will may say yes to that, or interviewer may also say no to that. Like we have a limited budget, we cannot procure a third party video embedding tool, and it's a crux of the entire project, the amount could be high. Okay, so in such cases, definitely we can build a video player of our own. It is not some rocket science, don't worry. If you want, I'll link one blog which I read recently where they very, very clearly explain how to build a video player. So it can be easily built just with HTML video tag, and there are a lot of media source, HTML media tag, video tag, and the media source. It's a JavaScript API. With these two things, you can easily build a player like YouTube, very basic player like YouTube, in just few hours. There are a lot of tutorial outs there with which you can build the video player, but there will be a lot of intricacies which you might miss. Okay, whenever we build, like I said, the adaptability, adjusting the quality, all those things may take little time. If you build your own YouTube player. Now we are solved the first problem of video player. Don't think this, I am not getting into all the problems. Whatever the problem that is very, very visible on the top layer, I'm touching them. Next problem which we have is, so to summarize, video player, whether if the timeline is less, let's use a third party video player which is very popular and used by many. If that amount is, if they are offering for a free, use that. Or if you are offering a very minimal cost and it is something worth from the point of whatever the service that they're giving, you can use it. Or if you wish to build a player of your own, that also can be done, and it is not very complex. Okay, next we have is the section of uh, comment section and the suggested videos. Okay, now let us probably 1 second. So I have opened Ajitech for some other reason. Anyway, I'll explain that in a while. Okay. Next, let us go to my channel, Uncommon Geeks. Okay. I'll open one video and I'll explain what is very, very important here. Okay. So videos. Let's say let's go to some video where I have so many comments. Okay. So in this video now, you're observing this video. Okay. So where we have designed the architecture pretty much similar to this only, correct? So where in the center you have the video and the right hand side you have suggested videos. You have a player here, and observe the things carefully now. I'll show you one flow. Okay. So in interview, this doesn't happen. Interview question might be directly asked for just for your analysis and how you should think. I'm just showing you. So I'm scrolling down. Okay. And we are seeing some comments here. Okay. You observe a scrolling on the right side. So there were only few suggestions were loaded, and whenever you scroll down, new suggestions start getting added. Okay. Again, I'm scrolling down. So new set of comments started adding here. Correct. So again, whenever you're scrolling right, so new set of suggested videos are getting added here. Wasn't there is no rocket science in this. We all know how pagination works and how things get added. Okay. I'm not very fascinated by the suggested videos pagination. That is quite straightforward, where every time whenever you're hitting the end of the page or whatever the loaded content, end of the loaded content, you can load the new content. Many libraries are there. There are built-in mechanisms to that. That is fine. Let us focus on the comment section pagination. Okay. So let's say you have loaded till here, correct, to certain extent. Then the next set of comments got loaded for this particular video, correct. Now here are my questions to you regarding this. Whenever you hit the end of the current loaded comment section, you are going to the next set of comments, correct. So there is a problem called consistency here. What is consistency problem is, let's say in the comments you have filtered it like sort by new comments on top comments or newest first, something like that. Newest first basically refers whoever has commented most recently, they are going to be on top, correct. So now you are scrolling to the end, correct. And whenever you're scrolling to the end, it is obviously it is not only you are the one who is watching the video, correct. There are thousands of people out there who are watching the video, and many might have added a comment by that. Let's say you watch the video for 5 minutes. In that 5 minutes, probably let's say 100 people have added the comments. So now whenever you're scrolling to the end, so as per the default filter you have selected, newest comment should be on top, correct. But your local whatever the comment that you have, you don't have the newest comments. So in the pagination now, you gonna get the whatever the index or however the logic that you have built, next set of comments after that, okay. Because next set of comments if you get after that, they could be also the newest, not the oldest, correct. Hope you're getting whatever I'm saying. So in that cases, what is the typical way you will do? That is question number one. Question number two, let's say if it's making very confusing for you, let us avoid the newest and the oldest. Let's keep the problem very simple. Let's say you are whatever the order that you have got it, most recent you have got, and the oldest you are fetching on from the during the pagination, okay. Now here also, let's say certain comments are edited whenever you are scrolling to the end, okay. And those edited comments are not definitely reflected on the screen because you are having an old instance of comments, correct. So during the pagination, are you gonna update the old comments which have been modified, or you're only gonna fetch the new set of comments and add it to the list? Hope you all got the problem. I'm going to explain the problem once again. So let's say you have a pagination where newest comments you show on top, oldest comments are added from the behind, okay, whenever you do the pagination. And whenever you're doing the pagination, certain comments which are already loaded have been edited. So are you going to update those comments or not? So this is a typical system design question. Why I'm asking, I'll tell you. So the problem here is, whenever you think of editing a already present comments, it is not that easy, okay. Because you need to go to particular comment and particular sub comment or a reply, what we call reply id and the comment id, and that particular section you need to update it. And if you're using react, it need to re-render that component. So sometimes if you're not structured your project properly, there's a chance that entire comment section can be re-rendered, correct. So you have to avoid all these problems, number one. And number two is, if you're not doing this, let's say you're not updating the comments, then there is a problem where consistency, like I watching a video and you watching a video, we have a different views of the same video. So if you systems like YouTube sometimes may not expect that, correct. So now let us, how to solve this problem, let us see, okay. How to solve this problem is, so in the comment now we have to do the pagination. So you got the pros and cons of each approach. So if you gonna update the new comment, whenever you're doing the pagination, if you update the already existing comments, you will have some performance effect. If you're not updating that, definitely the system will be faster, correct. So if I just write the advantages and disadvantages here, okay. So basically now we have two approaches. Approach one, like that only you need to do, okay, in the interview as well. Approach one, where you are doing the pagination, okay. And we have something called approach to pagination with update, okay. Pagination without update, pagination without update, okay. Two main categories we have. What is the pagination with update advantage? Consistency, correct. So we have the consistency, like basically we show most realistic data, correct. These are the pro. And what is the con? It is lower, correct. It is comparatively slower, because definitely it involves some amount of processing, right. You don't have to just update the already, only you don't have, you're not showing the only the new comments, you also update the already existing comments, correct. Now let us come here and see what is pro here. Pagination without an update, pagination without an update process is definitely faster. Con you already know, con is it is con is it is not consistent, correct? Pro is this, and con is it's not consistent, correct? Because if three people are watching the video at a point in time, they may see the different set of the comments at that. So now you as a developer need to give a suggestion to the interviewer, like which is good. So definitely, if you ask me, pagination without update is a good idea. The reason being, there is always a chance of inconsistency. Correct? I opened the video, 100 comments were there. Another opened the video, 150 comments are there, and I'm watching the video, he's watching the video. So there's already an inconsistency between the two, unless I refresh my page. So that problem is not newly introduced by me. That problem already exists. Correct? And there's no effort right now to solve that problem by YouTube itself. Correct? So inconsistency is fine. So I would prefer to go with this approach, pagination without an update, faster the processing, but I am fine having the not consistency. So this is your opinion. Now, there is also one important thing that you need to consider here. Let's say the video says about some two countries, and the video is saying like this country economy is much higher compared to this country. Okay, everybody are appreciating him for making that video, but the very essence of the video could be wrong. Like whatever his fact that is shown in the video could be wrong. So somebody might add a comment with very descriptively explaining this particular video is totally wrong, these facts are wrong, whatever the country that is having higher economy is not having higher economy, the other country itself has a higher economy. So these are called the priority comments. So among all the comments, certain comments can be having high priority. If you don't show this comment to a user, he might get misled. Correct. So who is going to decide which is a high priority comment? Definitely the backend with machine learning and other algorithms. You can define certain comments are the high priority comments. So you have to propose this solution to the interviewer. Okay. I'm just giving certain examples how your mindset should be. So we will go with the pagination without update, but we'll also have an option to have a priority comments. Let's say during the pagination, if you send me some priority comments with the main comment ID and the reply ID, I will update that. Or if it's a new comment, just send the comment ID, I'll insert that on top. The reason for that is that might change the way the comments are working. Like it is in one direction now. After this, it might get turned into different video, or whatever the comment that you wanted to add also might get changed after reading that priority comment. So I will go with the option of pagination without update with the concept of the priority comments as an option. Okay, so that's what I want to discuss with three. We solved two problems in this now: the video player and the comment section. Now let's go to the design of the second thing that we discussed, that is the live streaming. Correct? Live streaming has its own set of challenges. How you going to solve the live streaming, etc. Okay, that's the reason I had opened the Arch Tech Live. I don't know whatever they are streaming, I'm not much concerned on that. Okay, so and there's nothing like a recommendation to watch Aaj Tak. I just searched any particular live streaming video. Obviously, the news are the best way to get the live streaming. So I'm opening some news. Okay, and I paused the video long back only. So this you're seeing this live streaming. Why I'm showing this is in interview also this might happen. Interviewer might show you this. The reason for that is, see, one thing that is getting different than the normal streaming is the normal video. Whatever I showed you here is the comment section. Correct? So there are right now around 11,876 people are watching, and if you observe this, the comments are being flooded like anything. Correct? This looks like an easy problem to solve with the help of Pager and other things, but it is not that easy. Okay, so let's say if you want to design the component for the live streaming, it pretty much remains the same as this. There is not much of a difference. Only the added section is the, rather having this comment section, it has a live comment section. So component architecture remains as it is. Okay, now, so here we have this live streaming and so many comments are be getting populated every second. Correct? Tell me, what is the approach that you would think, in case if you're someone who already know the right approach for this live commenting, please mention that in the comment section. Okay, you can mention the video timing and add that in the comment section. What is the right way to use the live streaming, live commenting? If not, I'm going to explain. But before I explain what is about the live commenting, it's already close to 38 minutes that I've made a video with non-stop. Obviously, there is a lot of research that has gone into making this video. So please like the video and subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon if you're not already done so. And add a comment whatever you felt so far. The reason for that, I always say I have only motto of I want to help the candidate to clear their interview. So if more likes, more comments, video becomes visible for a lot. Whenever it is visible for a lot, there is a high chance I get more subscribers and the followers. Definitely there is a high chance I would able to reach my cause very soon. Okay, so please like and comment about the video before watching the further. Okay, now I was discussing about the live commenting. I assume some of you might have already commented like how live commenting works. If not, let us start discussing certain approaches in the live regarding the live commenting. Okay, so what are the approaches that are possible for the live commenting? Okay, so I'll explain whatever the things that are happening. Basically, there are some 10 comments or some x number of comments which are loaded whenever the live streaming video loaded, correct? Further comments are being added in a periodic interval, correct? And as you can see here, you can always scroll up and read only certain number of old comments. Okay, this is the reason why you need to look at the system before designing it. So they are not allowing you to see all the 1 lakh comments that are happened before what you came, or all the comments that are happened in the past. There is certain scroll, whatever the scroll they have, right? In that interval, whatever has been commented, you can see. For example, now it is at whatever the, let's say it's like 1 p.m. you're watching the video. All the comments that came, for example some 200 comments that came before 1 o'clock, can be seen on the screen, correct? So what are the different mechanisms that we can use to solve that are? So what we can do is, let me just start adding those mechanisms of live commenting. Okay, how we can basically achieve it, that's what I mean here, mechanisms of live commenting. Okay, so one easiest way is what we you generally does is polling. Okay, second is server sent events. Third definitely is sockets. Okay, I'll explain about each of them, and this is the same way how you need to also do in the interview. Okay, list them, explain the pros and cons, and tell which approach suits best for you. Okay, so in the polling we also have something called short polling. I'm very sorry if my spelling of polling is not correct. I think it is right. Okay, short. I'm not that expert in English spellings actually. Long pooling, huh? Pooling, long pooling and short pooling. Okay, I don't know. It is not pooling. It could be polling only. Okay. Basically, I mean, I'll explain what I mean. So if I made a spelling mistake, please correct it. Okay. Servers and events have no subsections as such. Okay. So what do I mean by polling here is client make a request to server at a consistent interval time or a periodic interval of time. Okay. Let's say every 5 seconds you make a call. Okay. Every 5 seconds you make a call and get the data. Let us quickly see what is happening in YouTube. I'm going to the network section. Okay, I'm going to network section and I'm clearing all the things. If you observe, get live chat is called once, then get live chat is called again. Okay, and the get live chat is called periodically. Okay, so every x interval you're seeing, right, in almost every second I think it is kind of fetching the new set of comments from the backend and appending it to the existing set of the comment that it already has. And after a point, for example, they might have made a array with a limited length, and obviously all the old items will go off and only the new items will be remaining, correct? This is the easiest way where you constantly poll and get the data and add it. Okay, but there are different types of polling. One is short polling and long polling. What is short polling? You call at a periodic interval and backend immediately sends all the new whatever the comment that has immediately. Another thing called the long polling. What does long polling means? Let's say you called the backend, but backend doesn't have any new comments. That might happen, right? There are many people who are live streaming, and if YouTube cannot call backend every 1 second to get the new set of comments, even in those criteria, correct? Because there are not many new comments, but it will make a call, and the backend will wait for a particular interval of time, like 15 seconds, 20 seconds, 25 seconds. That is a interval for which the client waits, okay, for a particular request to fail. After 25 seconds, or else generally what backend does is it will take a request, it will wait for some, let's say 20 seconds is when the UI considers as the request has failed. After a 15 second, it will see if any new data is there, whatever it is, it will flush. If there is no new data also, it will flush with the empty array. Okay, this is called the long polling. Advantages of long polling is short polling. Disadvantage, you call, you may not have anything, so you are simply consuming a server resource for nothing whenever there are no comments. For example, for the long polling, advantage is you're waiting for a significant amount of time. Definitely there could be a high chance where some comments come and you'll return. So comparing short polling and long polling is better in certain areas where you are not expecting some things to happen very often. Okay. Next thing is the server sent events. So this is very, very optimal approach compared to the polling. Server sent events are nothing but server will send a trigger to you, and whenever there are triggers, you will be making a network call. Okay, so there are different ways with which server sent events can be configured. If you are not at all knowing, please mention that in comment section, I'll make it, but I'll not deviate this video to explain the server sent events in detail. Very simple words, there is a trigger from the backend, and UI knows this trigger means I need to call this API. It will call and get the data. Okay, so it's very optimal because backend knows when there are new set of comments, it will inform the UI, and the UI makes a call and gets the data. So this is server sent events, very optimal compared to the polling approaches. Okay, but it is not suitable in all the scenarios because servers and events will have its own performance problems. Okay, because client will have a connection dedicated in the server. All the clients, we have 200 billion plus users. If 200 billion, not 200 billion, very huge user base. I think 2 billion users YouTube has, around 200 crores. If all the 200 crore people, let's say they will not watch at the same time, but let's say just at least 10% of them watch the video at the same time, that is around how many, I think 20 million, correct? 20 million people watching at some time. From 200 crores, not 20 million, 200 crore user, if you have 20 crore people watching it at one particular point of time, then 20 crore connection has to be established to the server, correct? And there are chance where definitely not 20 crore, whoever is watching the live streaming, those many connections will be established, and that number also will be significantly high for the server, correct? And there may not be any update happening on the server. In such cases, these connections will be waste, and that resource cannot might have been used for some other things. Okay, next we have something called sockets. Most of you know what are sockets. So server difference between server sent events and the sockets are two-way connection. Server sent events are one-way connected, like only the backend will send certain things to UI and UI makes a modification. Sockets are nothing but two-way connection. The best example are the messaging. Whenever you're doing messaging in the WhatsApp, or whenever you're chatting on the web with some support and all, you'll do, right? Every site, a lot of sites have a support center where you can do the live chatting. All those work actually on the sockets, because client also can send certain things to a connection and the server also can send back certain things to connection. It's a two-way. Okay, servers and events are one way, where only backend will send certain things to the client. So these are the three different approaches with which the we can get the comments from the live commenting. We can enable live commenting in the YouTube. This is very good. Interviewer will be definitely happy if you're able to approach, explain all these problems. Next question that interviewer will ask is, Vasant, what is the approach that you suggest for us? Like if you are building YouTube now, which approach you are gonna go? Whether short polling, long polling, server sent events in the sockets. Very first thing, I'm not going to go with sockets. Okay, because sockets are very, very costly compared to all the things, because you are establishing a channel, and this is not like a chatting. This is just a one way. Somebody sends a comment, somebody replies there, and again you have to send a comment. It is like group chat, everyone messaging in one direction. It's not like a two-way, like you sending, it's going to server, coming back. No, both are sending to one server and they can both can see the comments in the live. So I'll not go with the sockets. So servers and events, I might go. So servers and events are also good, but considering the scale of YouTube, where we have billions of users, servers and events also will consume lot of energy with the help of by making the connections. So many connections are open, and sometimes these connections could be meaningless. Simply server utilization is high, so I may not go with the servers and events also. I will go with polling. Don't think I'm biased looking at whatever I showed you. Obviously, you also felt like YouTube is doing a polling at every second, correct? Why I'm selecting the polling is, so you already know what is short polling and long polling. I've already explained. Polling, I will not go with this typical polling where I call it every 1 second and get. No, I'll not do that. I will use a algorithmic way of determining the duration. Like for example, Aaj Tak, whatever I was saying, there are, for foreigners who are watching, there is a lot of YouTube, there are a lot of foreign news channels which have been streaming. Some channels might have very limited comments that are happening on a day-to-day basis. Some live streaming, some channels, no, some news channels that are present live streaming on YouTube might have limited users and limited comments. Some YouTube channels with that are live streaming, news channels that are live streaming might have huge user base and so many comments. So I'll do a short polling itself, but the whatever the duration with which I make a call is not predefined. So that is something that is determined depending on the video which I'm watching, and this number is calculated by a machine learning algorithm by watching that channel periodically. Definitely there will be a default value when a new news channel starts streaming or new live streaming comes, but after a point, whenever the algorithm becomes smarter, it will tell me this is the duration. With my lot of analysis in the past, this is the duration with which the live comments need to be updated, and that duration I'll do a short polling. That seems better option for me considering the huge scale of things like the YouTube. Okay, so this is the another problem that I want to discuss in live streaming. Last thing that I want to discuss here is, wasn't what how YouTube live streaming is working. This will be generally asked in the interview, like what is the protocol with which the streaming is happening. Actually, there are many protocols for the live streaming, correct? Most popular ones that everyone aware of is a WebRTC, correct? So web real time communication, RTC stands for, one of the very popular framework. But only problem with WebRTC is, let me just note down so that you guys also note it properly. Live streaming protocols. Okay, one is WebRTC. Okay, and the second one is RTMP, and the third one is HLS. I've written certain things on the left so that I won't miss it out, so I'm mentioning here. So these are the three popular live streaming protocols that are available. Vasant, is it necessary for me to know these things before attending the interview? I would highly recommend you need to know. Okay, why? Because you have to always explain the pros and cons of an approach and rule out some approach and take one approach, like I mentioned here. Correct. So it's always essential for you to pick all the popular systems and analyze the popular system and take a note and explain that. Correct. So three popular systems are there: WebRTC, RTMP, and HLS. So WebRTC, like I said, it is open source and it uses UDP. Okay, if you don't know what is UDP, user datagram protocol, basically it's a connectionless protocol, and there is a high chance where some packets are lost in this particular with UDP based one. Okay, and HLS is very easy definition: HTTP live streaming. Okay, so this is built by Apple in 2008. Okay, so definitely, as you can guess, I have already read about all these protocols in the past. I would advise you also need to read like this whenever you are practicing for the system design. Okay, RTMP is real-time messaging protocol. Real-time messaging protocol. It uses TCP. Okay, reliable, fast. Okay, it's reliable and it is fast. Okay, compared to other frameworks. Okay, and it is meant for uh, I mean, it's not like a very old one. It is newly designed for meeting the modern day needs. So obviously, you know which protocol that I'm going to pick. I'll be picking the RTMP. In fact, YouTube also uses the RTMP protocol for the live streaming purpose. Not the live streaming, even the normal streaming in YouTube also happens with the help of RTMP, real-time messaging protocol. So what are protocols? You very well know. It's just a set of rules that is agreed between the client and the server. Every protocol will have certain set of rules which will make it to be fast, slow, and certain different aspects. So, and also very important thing to note here is RTMP uses the TCP. So, okay, TCP is a connection oriented protocol. So a connection is established between the client and server. So no packets are lost, more security. And even if you, due to your internet issue, if you lose certain packets, after you get those packets, whenever your internet is up, there is a chance where you can combine them on the UI and you can show it to the user. So because of all these reasons, RTMP is recommended for, even it is used in Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and maybe other lives. These are two systems I've clearly studied. Other systems I don't know, but a lot of live streaming apps on the web might be using the RTMP as a protocol. So YouTube also using the RTMP protocol. See, if you explain all these things to interviewer, like how I explained, what are the mechanisms of live commenting, what are the problems with the pagination with the commenting. So if you explain all this to the interviewer, he'll be terribly happy. Correct? Like he knows so many things, and he's taking each approach one by one. It is scratching why this is not suitable for this application and why this only need to be used. He'll be very happy that looking at your knowledge about a particular system design. So much he already know. Definitely he'll be able to contribute whenever he is inside the company. Okay, so after all this, there is one last thing that I want to tell. So where we are pretty much done with the system design, this one. Last thing is, some people spend some time also on the API architecture, like whether to use GraphQL or to use the JSON, and GraphQL or the REST, and how typically what are the APIs that you want, and each API contain what all parameters. That only if the time permits. With my experience of giving and taking interviews, I generally, we haven't not focused on the API design as such, because that's going to take much time, and I don't see a lot of challenges in there. Definitely, certain extent there are certain challenges, but I don't see the problems like I discussed will happen there, because you go to API designing once all these things are already well defined. Okay, so pretty much that's all about this video. One last thing is, read about this youtube.github.io SPF.js. SPF, structured page fragments. That is something that YouTube uses internally for the navigation purpose. So I'm done with my system design, but this is my time to explain you certain things so that you can go and read. So where a lightweight JS framework for fast navigation of page updates from YouTube. So how YouTube basically updates the page, what things are updated and what things are not updated whenever you're navigating are clearly explained here. Link to this will be in the description section. Please go ahead and read it. Okay. So that's all about this video. In case if you like the video, please like the video on YouTube channel and add a comment whatever you felt, and subscribe to my channel Uncommon Geeks and press the bell icon. Next, I will be designing a stock market application from the scratch to end, very very in depth, same way how I did. I'll be picking a lot of complicated problems and how those problems can be solved. I'll be explaining. So if you want to get the notification for that, you have to press the bell icon and subscribe so that you get a notification instantly. And whatever the material that I've roughly added here, I am not going to be adding it to my GitHub anything as such. But if you want those, whatever the drawing that I did or the whatever the requirements I added, mention that in comment section. I'll be reserving them. If you want, I'll be upload them. And start my GitHub project whenever you are downloading so that that becomes a little popular. And follow me on LinkedIn and Medium. So if you have some questions that cannot be asked in the YouTube comment, you can ping me in LinkedIn. I'll try to answer them. And Medium, I'll be writing every week one new article on the interview preparation that will definitely help you. So follow me on Medium and subscribe the newsletter. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you in next video.